Well, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. Here once again to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. And of course, I will let you know who's coming up on this week's show in just a little bit. Time kind of snuck up on me this morning. I thought I had a few more minutes, but it all worked out, right? We're here now. You're here now. And I do certainly appreciate that. Cliff, always a pleasure. How are you this morning, buddy? Good, I hope, on this Wednesday morning. Bruce. Hey, Craig. Man, long time no see, Craig. Good news on that Angler Quest tourney, huh? And thank you again for your generous contributions. It was your work that allowed us to have the African safari for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. It was you who allowed us to have that Illinois bow hunt, and also you dropped off a very nice knife that we will give away in the silent auction as well. Uncle Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Uncle Johnny, the golf outing is cruising along nicely. That will be Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. Mike, how are things in Arizona? Hello, Randy. Tim. Jim, always a pleasure, buddy. How are you? Billy. Cliff says he's seen a few dead skunks. I saw one last week as I was coming home from Uncle Johnny's house. It was after dark. I couldn't get a picture of it. I went back the next morning and it was gone. Robert, how are you? David. Charles, watching over on YouTube. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Dave Mason. James. Billy says, been seeing lots of dead skunks. Mike says, things in Arizona are a bit wet. Well, that's what you get for leaving us here. Billy says, seeing lots of dead skunks. I've only seen the one, and I always like to get a picture of that first dead skunk and post it. Like I say, I saw one after dark, went back, couldn't find it the next day. I thought I saw one in town the other day. Did a U-ey around the block, came back, stopped in the middle of traffic. Turns out it wasn't a skunk. John Sullivan of Lure Lipstick, lurelipstick.com. How are you this morning, John? I suspect you guys are getting ready for the first Michigan Walleye Tour stop. I think it's on the Saginaw River in March, if I remember right. Jason checking in from the Ford Dearborn Truck Plant. Good morning. How are you? Kevin says, betting we'll see a robin tomorrow. Johnny, when was it that we saw a robin? 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago? We saw a flock of robins fly overhead. We were down in the Detroit area, and it got our attention. We're like, robins? What are they doing here? Billy says he saw 7 in his travels yesterday. Wow. I just want to see one to document and get on camera, to take a picture of it. There's something ceremonial about that first dead skunk in the road that I like to celebrate. Michael. Hey, Ross, how you doing, buddy? My good friend, Mr. Skinny, Ross Elliott. By the time you see it, guys, see Ross next time, you won't even recognize him. Happy for you, Ross. Ross, will you be joining us for our golf outing in West Branch this summer? Rick says, hey, Mike, that wild game dinner is getting close. It is Saturday, March 2nd at the Great Hall in Midland. 1.bidpal.net for tickets. 1.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor for tickets. We have a few left. The last count was something like 50 out of 400. John says he saw robins in the backyard this past weekend. Patrick checking in from the GM Truck Plant assembly. Mike says, when is the date for Walleye for Warriors? Let me pull this up for you, Mike. It's in June. It is the 8th and 9th. It's the weekend of the 8th and 9th, 31 pounds. And you got about 100 more to go, Ross. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you're going to lose like 100 more pounds. The golf outing, Ross, is Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. Good morning, Scott. Josh Mapes. I appreciate the picture, Billy, but it's just not the same if I don't get to take it. I need to have the experience myself. Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. Johnny is providing a UP bear hunt for us. He's also providing a Fox River brook trout fishing trip. Now, Fox is known as the Two-Hearted River if you read Ernest Hemingway. If you want to have a chance to experience a piece of northern Michigan of Upper Peninsula history, come to our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction Saturday, March 2nd at the Great Hall in Midland. Bid on that trip with Johnny Bowler. Hey, Jerry, how are things in the Adirondacks? Lure Lipstick, are you going to be at the Grand Rapids Ultimate Fishing Show? Probably. I like to hit that one, John, because that has a personal significance to me. I grew up just north of Grand Rapids, and my dad used to take me to that show 55, almost 60 years ago when I was a kid. So I do like to go back to that show. So a long answer to a short question, will I be at the Grand Rapids show? Probably, and I hope to. Brent, good morning. How are you, buddy? Hey, Captain Todd. Judy, how have you been? Billy says, I get it. It's a sure sign, though. We'll be back in the fields planting soon. Billy, it's only mid-February, and we're talking about being back in the fields. Isn't that crazy? That is just absolutely crazy. I was thinking about having Rich Krazan of Killer Food Plots on the show next week to talk about the food plot planting season, and it's only mid-February. February. Crazy. Okay, things on my list. Can you feel it? Craig Plowman, are you ready? The daylight is getting longer. Craig corrected me. For the past few weeks, I've been saying the days are getting longer. Craig's like, Avery, you big dummy. No, they're not. The days are still 24 hours. Okay, point taken. The amount of daylight we're seeing each week here in the great state of Michigan is increasing significantly. Is that better, Craig? My true sign of spring, as you know, though, is when the red-winged blackbirds come back, and I haven't heard any yet. It'll be a while for them yet. 1.bidpal.net to get your tickets for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. That's at the Great Hall in Midland. It is to benefit my church and school. I don't own it. Our church and school, Trinity Monitor, near Auburn in Bay County. We are going to use the money for a new playground and for some mechanical upgrades at the school. You like that, eh, Craig? Details are, Ross, Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. It'll be $100 a person, $400 a team. For that, you will get a lunch. You'll get a steak dinner afterwards. And, of course, we will have prizes. If anybody, I've already had people reach out and say, hey, we want to support this and be a sponsor, because the proceeds will go to MUCC's youth camp. Tim, good morning. Justin, how are you, buddy? Justin Hess, the guy who, two things pushed me over the edge to get these things in my ears here. Justin made some owners available and said, Mike, I think you could benefit. And then my daughter's wedding weekend last Labor Day weekend, when I could not hear anybody in a crowded room, I said, that's enough. I gotta do something about it. Bernie, where'd you go, Bernie? Good morning. Good morning, Brad. All right, Johnny's got to go to work. Tommy, how are you, buddy? Always a pleasure, Tommy. It was so nice to meet you and your your beautiful family at the Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack. Was that December? Ross said, I'll try to get a team together. I think the dream team would be Ross Elliott, Johnny Bowler. I don't know. Morning. Hey, Art, check out the Michigan brand stuff we got here. There's a plate full of it. George Jessen, amazing morning. Hello, where are you, George? It looks so beautiful. It's a nice morning here, but it's not beautiful for sure. Donnie May, how are you doing, my friend, from the foggy Uperland? John, good morning. How are you? Now, how can I get this? Because I have filed this yesterday. I'll have to put that aside and file a little business email here. It said I haven't filed a certain amount of paperwork, but we did. Matt, Excellent, Tommy. Have fun. Indian River. No kidding. Beautiful. Okay, so it's sunny up north. I told you the golf outing is a go. Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. If you want to get involved in this, if you want to sponsor this in some way, send me an email, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Matt, hearing this 2 years ago, never regretted it. From the minute I put these in, I have been very happy that I did it. Very happy. It took a while to get the right physical fit, and then it took a while to get them dialed in and to get my brain used to them, but I haven't regretted it one bit. Donnie Mae, the Menominee, totally open in front of her house. Have not seen this for a long time. Another example that Mother Nature doesn't know what season it is. Tim, good morning. How are you? Okay, here's who's coming up. Oh, well, let me tell you who's coming up on the radio show, then something I need to talk about here real quick before I run out of time. On this week's radio show, my first guest is Chris Craner. Chris is a hardcore coyote hunter. I want to talk to Chris about this proposal to close down Michigan's coyote hunting season from April 15th to July 15th. Even the DNR admits this is not a proposal based in biology. Well, then why in the hell would we do it? If it's not based in biology, why would we do it? I think I know why. And it is indirectly because of anti-hunters, but it's my perception so far, and I'll learn more about this, that this is actually being pushed by the trappers and possibly the Hunting Dog Federation. The thinking is the optics, and I hate this word, the perception of hunting coyotes during the, what would we call it, the wet season, when the females have pups, that the antis will use that against us and get rid of coyote hunting in general. So no biological reason for it, but social science behind it. So this, of course, leads to a very, very interesting conversation, and I will talk about this extensively on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. At the end of the first hour, Captain John Littlefield on how you can become a licensed charter captain. John was the guy who taught my charter captain's class. In hour number 2, extreme long-range shooter Paul Phillips. I want to check in with my buddy Paulie, as I call him. Then Justin Tomei of MUCC with more on this concept, this proposal, this idea of taking 3 months out of the coyote hunting season for no sound biological reason. In our third hour, we're talking springtime fishing with the man himself, Mark Romanek of Fishing 411, and we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Okay, let me get back to some of your comments. Good morning, Rocky. Love that name, Rocky. Good morning, Mickey. Love that name. Good morning, Jim. Jim's a name, like Mike is, right? Ed, good morning. How are you? Jason, proposal, he said, here's a real list for the NRC for regulations based on sound scientific management. Agreed, Jason. Didn't we as a state pass Proposal G in 1996, which said all wildlife management issues will be based on sound scientific management principles? Yes, we did. Exactly, Tim. This can be, if you're truly looking to regulate and control Michigan's coyote hunting population, this 3 months coming, or the 3 months from April through July, even though it might sound a bit harsh, if you're looking to do population control, that is the time to do it. Robert checking in from the Eastern UP. Doug Ward, good morning, Cap. Doug Ward is giving a trip away for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Doug, I'm calling it a trip for 4 on Saginaw Bay out of Au Gres at a mutually agreeable date sometime in the summer of 2024. To bid on that and much more, get your tickets to our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, Saturday, March 2nd at the Great Hall in Midland. one.bidpal.net. Go to one.bidpal.net/Trinity and you can get your tickets. We're auctioning off so many things, from African safaris to 3-day guided Michigan turkey hunts to salmon fishing trips on Lake Michigan to walleye fishing trips on Saginaw Bay to brook trout fishing trips in the UP. It's going to be a great event. Thank you, Doug, for your generosity. Tim, the RNC, I think you mean NRC, is no longer on the sportsman side. Just your opinion. You're not alone there, Tim. You are not alone. Jason said, yes, we did. In 1996, we passed Proposal G, which called for sound scientific wildlife management practices, i.e., all management decisions will be based on sound scientific biological evidence. Even the DNR admits this is not based in biology. Good morning, Tom. How are things in the thumb? Randy, good morning, Mike. Who generated the proposal to change the coyote hunting? Here is the disturbing part, Randy. And I will preface this by saying I have always been a strong supporter of trappers and the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association, and I have always been a strong supporter of the Michigan Hunting Dog Federation. I have been told that it was those two groups who asked for this, and the reason is, the reason behind the reason, the real reason is, they're worried that the antis are going to focus on this 3 months of the hunt and try to use it against us, not just against coyote hunters, but against dog hunters in general and hunters in general. So it is a classic example, if I understand this correctly, and I believe I do have a feel for it. If I understand this correctly, this is a classic example of the antis not being directly involved. They're using their threats to divide the hunting community. Go back to the dove hunt in Michigan. Take a look at why we don't have a wolf hunt. It's because the antis. But when they start using our sportsmen's groups to divide and conquer, I get real nervous. And when the DNR and the NRC buy into it, wow. What'd you say, John?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Robert, good morning. Doug says, yes, sir, 4 out of Au Gres. Now, this is really cool. I'm giving away a Saginaw Bay walleye fishing trip as well. Doug's trip and my trip could not be more opposite. Mine will be in the skinny water, the colored water, the sometimes dirty water in the lower bay. And I might be talking 4 feet of water. Doug is up out of Au Gres in 40 feet of water in crystal clear water. 2 completely different experiences, both of them very cool in their own way. Hey, John, good morning. How are you? John checking in. John says, good morning from the home of Angler Quest, Quest. You know why John says Quest? Because there is no more Qwest. Reminder, Mr. Angler Quest himself, Brad Dupuis, has taken Angler Quest with the blessing of Apex Marine. The Angler Quest name, he's going to use the boat on his own, and it's going to be Quest. By the way, Craig Plowman, by the way, Doug Ward, I talked to Brad Dupuis this morning. There will be an Angler Quest owners tournament this summer on Saginaw Bay out of the Linwood Beach Marina and Campground. David says, why can we have marijuana stores on every corner? It was a federal crime, but we can't have wolf management. Interesting question. What did I say? I thought I said Au Gres. I'm sorry, Doug. If I misspoke, I apologize. Whatever happened to the bounty on coyotes? Good question. It's been gone for a long time, I think. Muddy. We'll call it muddy water. The new angler, Quest. Billy Blair checking in from Florida, just to rub it in a little. Don't know, Randy, but Kevin, I was just talking about this. Kevin, I know you have some strong thoughts on this. The plan to cut out the coyote hunting season from April 15th to July 15th. Who is really behind it? Randy, they are quick to point out that you would still be able to hunt coyotes if they were doing damage to livestock or pets. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a lot this morning, Kevin. Hey, Captain Mark Pananzak, another good friend of mine, another guy who has been very generous in his contribution for a trip to walleye anglers on the Detroit River this spring. Don't have it yet, Doug. Don't have it yet. Gotcha, Doug. Gotcha. All right, so some good topics of discussion this week. I will learn more about this as I have conversations with these people in the show. And you can bet we will talk more about it tonight on Wednesday Night Live. Brandon, good morning. Walleye being caught from the shore, Detroit River. Butch checking in from Lansing.
10,
It does, Arlen. 8.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
2, 1, blast off. Okay, so when you hear this, well, it means a couple of things. It means you're about to hear Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show. Well, as we just heard. Also means it's time for me to go to work. Interesting topics this week. I wish I didn't have to talk about these topics, but they need to be talked about. They need to be talked about. I'm here to do it. What's Romanek discussing? Probably your brother. That was not meant to be rude. It was meant as a joke. All right, my friends, got to go. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. Yep, it's a radio show. Just like to put that out there. You might be hearing it as a podcast, but it does originate as a radio show, unlike 99.9% of all other podcasts. So how are you this week? Can you feel it? Depending on where you are in our state, can you feel it? It's out there. I can feel it. Maybe because I want to feel it. It's only mid-February. But why does it feel so much like spring is just around the corner? More daylight every day. Now, I had been saying, can you feel the days getting longer? And my good friend Craig Plowman said, Avery, you big dummy. The days are still 24 hours. They're not getting longer. Okay, Craig, we're seeing more daylight each day. And we are. I saw my first dead skunk. That's a sign, isn't it? I saw it last week. I was driving at night, and I just got a glimpse of it. I thought, oh, there's my first dead skunk. I got to come back in the morning and get a picture of it. I came back in the morning, and it was gone. I thought, oh, man. Because to me, the first sign of springtime is the first dead skunk in the road. But then the next day, I was driving through town, a city street, 40 miles an hour, and I see, boom, there's a dead skunk in the road. So I turned around. I couldn't just do a U-turn. It was a pretty busy street. So I went a block around, came back. There's traffic behind me. I stopped the truck in the middle of the road, leaned out the window to take a picture, and went, oh, that's not a dead skunk. That's a cat. I was disappointed. But I'm getting reports of dead skunks all across the lower part of the state. For me, the real test in my world is going to be when the red-winged blackbirds come back. That, to me, is really something. John, I forgot to start my clock, so give me about 5 minutes, will you? Give me a 5-minute warning? Okay, all right. I like the rhythms, the natural rhythm of Mother Nature. I like the old sayings. You can see a lot of these in Farmer's Almanac. But I like these old sayings. I like these farmer stories. I like these wise old words of wisdom because I think there's a lot of truth in them. And I'll give you one example. And this is so well known. When red sky in morning, sailors take warning. Red sky at night, sailors delight. Well, think about that. If you got a red sky in the morning, maybe it's going to storm. Sailors take warning. Red sky at night, it's going to storm overnight. It's going to be nice tomorrow. Sailors delight. I have kept track of these things over the years. A lot of these come from my grandpa. The ponds won't freeze up till they're full. If the leaves turn over, if you can see the bottom of the leaves, it's going to rain. Whatever direction the wind is blowing on the first day of spring is the direction it'll blow for the next 6 weeks. One of my favorites. It'll be 6 weeks from the time the tree toads, cicadas, start buzzing till the first frost. Now, that one I've been keeping track of, and it's not 6 weeks. Maybe it was in the old days. For a while, I felt like it was closer to 8 weeks. Now it's actually closer to 10, but I think there is a correlation from the time the cicadas start to buzz till the first frost. I think there's a relationship there. Another one, you can tell how much snow is coming by the height of the muskrat houses. Thinking there is they'll build them high enough to stick out of the top of the snow. If it rains Easter Sunday, it'll rain the next 7 Sundays. The suckers will start running when the snow is out of the woods. Continuing on, when horses stand side by side facing opposite directions, it's going to rain. Never had horses, can't count on that one. If there's no dew in the morning, it's going to rain. If there is dew in the morning, it's not going to rain. If it rains before 7, it'll quit by 11. It will not rain all day. For every fog in the summer, there'll be a snowstorm in the winter. And there's more. I'm not going to bore you with more of them, but I love these things. I see them as a way to honor our predecessors, keeping track of these things. So this is what I did. I started to write these down. Several of them I remembered from my grandpa. I got a bunch of them from my dad before he passed. And I want to write these down and remember them because I just think that as a society that we're getting away from our relationship with Mother Nature and the natural world. Here's the example I use all the time. When my granddad wanted to know what the weather was going to be, he walked out in the porch that morning. He looked at the sky, he felt the breeze, he smelled the wind, he smelled the air, and he knew what it was going to be. If I want to know what the weather's going to be, I pull up my phone. Just one very basic real world example of how we're losing touch with Mother Nature and the outdoors. If you have one of those sayings, please email it to me, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I will give you credit, and with your permission, I will add it to the blog that I've been keeping track of for the last several years, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Okay, some housekeeping. Our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, Saturday, March 2nd at the Great Hall in Midland. We still have some tickets left. We are going to sell out, but we still have some left. Go to one.bidpal.net. That's ONE, one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor to get your tickets. Great wild game dinner, great silent auction, the live auction, some wonderful hunting and fishing adventures, guns, blinds, hunting trips ranging from an African safari to a 3-day guided Michigan turkey hunt, fishing trips ranging from Lake Michigan salmon fishing trips to Saginaw Bay walleye trips to a UP brook trout fishing trip. But you got to be there to get involved in the live auction. one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor to get your tickets for that. It's going to be a great event. Great event. Another event that has now been finalized. This is down the road, but I know your summer calendar gets busy, so mark this on your calendar right now. Monday, July 29th. Our outdoor magazine radio golf outing is a go. It'll be at the West Branch Country Club. All proceeds will go to the MUCC Youth Camp. I am really excited about this. I've never put a golf outing together before. I've golfed in a bunch. I've never put one together, and I'm not putting this one together either. I have a bunch of friends helping me out. That is Monday, July 29th in West Branch. All proceeds to the MUCC's youth camp. If you would like to get involved in that, maybe sponsor a hole or whatever, again, send me an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. That's mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Okay, a topic of discussion this week, and this is going to be a theme throughout the first 2 hours of the show. By the time you hear this show, the NRC will have already met on this, but not have made a decision. This involves the proposal to cut 3 months out of our Michigan coyote hunting season from April 15th to July 15th. The DNR admits this is not a biological decision. This makes me very nervous. It appears to be backed at this point by some sportsmen's groups. Sportsmen's groups that I have much respect for and support for. In 1996, the voters of Michigan passed Proposal G, which called for sound scientific wildlife management practices when it comes to the management of fish and game in Michigan. If it's admitted that there is no biological reason for this, why do it based on social science? The sportsmen's groups who are pushing it are concerned, apparently, and this is not a direct involvement by anti-hunters. That would be one thing, right? But the anti-hunters have put so much pressure on some types of hunting in Michigan that it appears to me that those groups are worried about the perception of hunting coyotes during the wet season, during the season when they have pups. So there's a proposal out there to limit hunting opportunities presented and backed by sportsmen's groups with no biological reason. That's a big concern. And we're going to talk a lot more about that this week, including right after the break here in Outdoor Magazine. We're going to talk to coyote hunter Chris Craner, get his thoughts on that. Then Captain John Littlefield tells us how you can become a charter captain this spring. Hour number 2, extreme long-range shooter Paul Phillips. Then Justin Tomei of MUCC with more on this coyote hunting situation and maybe some wolf news as well. And in our third hour, we're talking fishing with the man himself, Mark Romanek of Fishing 411. And, of course, we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. That's coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. Hello, Randy. Good morning. They want more yotes to run their hounds on. They want more yotes to trap. That's all about using the... They want more... oh, okay. Interesting, Elliot. Interesting. That's all it's about, using the perception as their push. I see what you're saying. Jordan Hoover, absolute dumbest thing they could do in the Ute. Furthermore, the absolute flagrant violation of Proposal G. JC, please send me that in an email. Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Good morning, Matt. When there's bubbles in the puddles, it's an all-dayer. Brett, please email that to me. Mark. Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Spring peepers, yes. Okay, very, very interesting. Elliot, you always have great insight. He says they want more coyotes to run their hounds on, or they want more yotes to trap. That's all it's about, using the perception as their push. Interesting. Interesting. All right, well, I've got a lot to cover this week on the show. I appreciate you joining me this morning, my friends. I'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, have a great day.